Hey now, I'll give it to them where they get it. This sequence was awesome. And so we arrive at a controversial moment. The cowering Tails returns. But Amy's response to this not only makes her look like an incompetent character, but also an asshole instead of creating a character that already has plenty of experience in the war during Sonic Forces itself. If I was in this universe and I was standing there and I just heard Sonic go, nah, there goes that Eggman again. Dude,
Eggman Empire. Authorization approved. Access granted.
what is happening, losers? My name is KotyTang. Y'all know what time it is. Let's get into some comics. Issue 29. Sonic and gang engage in a stare down with their fallen friends, all the while Zombot pelts Angel Island with fireballs. Knuckles takes it upon himself to make the first act, and the entire island goes on a full defensive against the Zombot virus.
Your friends manage your world.
Well, that's not a good thing.
Really? Is it? What was your first clue?
I knew it wasn't gonna be easy.
We need to stop this guy. Plain and simple.
Let's bring him down to our level. We can work our way around these guys.
Let's get started.
Oh, nuts!
I've got you. You go, Big Blue.
Ha! We gotta do this together.
Come on.
Here we go.
Lie down and die.
Whoa!
No.
Nice try, big guy. Oh, yeah!
Hello.
Now I'm getting angry. Let's start the climb.
They keep coming! That's certainly interesting. Hey, Eggman?
Bye-bye. No! Think I'm gonna be the only one that falls? Uh-oh.
Sonic, hurry!
This is it.
Playtime is over, Hedgehog. Let's put it into this.
How's that feel?
That's right. Enrage me further.
I'll make this quick.
Not bad.
That was a nice little workout.
All right.
Here we go, everyone.
Huh?
A little bit longer. Come on.
After a struggle against the Titan-sized Zavok, with Sonic nearly becoming zombotified, Silver and Sonic are able to connect all 7 emeralds, allowing the two to turn into their super forms. In these forms, they magically perform this ass-pull ability of removing the Metal Virus from every person from all over, and send every ounce of the virus that they collected into the sun, where it will burn up and never harm anyone again. The world then celebrates everybody turning back to normal. However, the warp topaz appears to shatter and explode, overloading with power, sending Silver straight into the ground, with Sonic nowhere to be found, supposedly lost to the blast that the topaz left behind. Hey now, I'll give it to them where they get it. This sequence was awesome, visually striking even. Of course, that doesn't change the fact that IDW still messed up the ending to this arc. I'm fully aware that IDW wrote themselves into a tight-ass corner. There was just absolutely no explanation as to how the virus was being torn from these people. There's no actual reason that this plan even worked. It just did. The build-up to this scene is entirely unearned. A huge blunder on the setup for this moment was the introduction to the Deadly Six, which chewed away at how much time they had left to come up with a more in-depth and satisfying conclusion. I am not so easily pleased to praise something by spectacle alone. A story requires the setup as well for the spectacle to feel earned. Oh, and also the weird fact that we still have 3 more issues to go because the Metal Virus Saga isn't even over yet for some reason. Anyway, let's talk about the issue's actual content. We began issue 29 with Sonic standing directly on the grass. Remember how back in issue 25, Sonic specifically tried to not land on the grass? I guess we just forgot about that once again. A thing that not only me, but IDW themselves pointed out, specifically in not just issue 25, but also in issue 26, while Eggman and Sonic were talking to each other. So it's something we're supposed to take note of, yet it's clearly displayed to not hold any weight to the narrative. Oh, and also, every single Zombot is walking on the grass. So all of Angel Island should be rapidly getting infected right now, and the heroes would be infected and finished faster than this battle could get its legs off the ground. But of course, that isn't happening, because the virus only happens to work when it's convenient for IDW, rather than the way that they described that the virus actually works throughout the story. At least most of the cast does end up getting infected in the end, so that kinda makes up for it, but it's still a plot hole in the story, because it directly contradicts everything explained about the virus. I think we should also take note that Sonic was not this infected in the last issue. He was actually freshly free of the Zombot virus. So I guess that this virus just upgraded tenfold and then immediately decided to regress to the point that it can no longer infect Sonic. There's even a part in this battle where Sonic is swarmed by Zombots. That would have been the perfect time to show him nearly overtaken by the infection. It's just really redundant to have made this correction when you have a moment that would narratively make him end up this way. With the way they have it now, it makes no sense that he wasn't overtaken when he was grabbed by Zombots, because he was literally almost completely infected at the start of this issue. Zavok touches the Zombots and he remains completely uninfected. Mind you, he only has 1 Chaos Emerald on him. So what this tells us is that the power of just 1 single emerald is actually more than enough to neutralize the virus and all of its effects. Sonic tells Orbot that running isn't even doing much work against the virus anymore. So suddenly, Sonic can no longer run off the virus. He was literally almost entirely infected here in issue 25 and went on to be completely fine by running, where he ended up looking like this, even maintaining that appearance by using a treadmill. Yet now, Sonic's running has suddenly become nullified and useless toward the virus. What happened? And so we arrive at a controversial moment. The cowering Tails returns. So let's talk about it. I would say that this scene with Tails does as much good as it does bad. In comparison to Sonic Forces, I think this scene works more. What I will grant to IDW is that in this scenario, Tails is screwed. He's infected by the virus, he's been getting chased relentlessly since the fight started, and he knows he's going to go down now no matter what. The reality of this fight with Zavok is that it's very likely that everybody will go down here, and that will be the end of Sonic and his friends, possibly even Silver too if he doesn't decide to jump ship after this. In Sonic Forces, Tails was scared simply because he was just scared of chaos. Obviously, Tails would have no reason to be overcome by fear of just about anything at that point, so Chaos walking up to Tails should have had next to no effect on him, even with the quote, lost it attitude that Forces suggested. The reason IDW's scene loses a few points is because Tails is, well, cowering and crying out for Sonic. Sonic. I don't expect Tails to go down swinging, but all he's going to solve by cowering here is that he'll get attacked by other Zombots. Remember back in issue 21, while going toe-to-toe with the Zombots, Tails did not cower in fear when it became time to act, nor did he freak out to the point that he couldn't move. In fact, in that scenario, he did put himself in harm's way multiple times, and then when it all came down to it, he absolutely almost did go out swinging thanks to his Cyclone. I've heard the argument that Tails is a kid, so let's compare how Tails is written to how Cream is written, and see how Tails being a child comes into play for his emotions. This comparison would work for even Tails and Charmy, but we're just going to focus on Cream for this one. Unlike Tails, Cream actually is written like a child. And because of how Tails is written, I think that him being the only character of the cast to essentially come face to face with death and cry about it automatically gives us a negative perception of his attitude. If Tails were actually written to be a child, I don't think him being scared of things would be a problem. Unfortunately, no amount of supplementary material will change that Tails is not written like a kid when he's in a scene. I'd argue that Tails has usually been written as either insecure or a straight up coward. What do you guys think? Issue 30. The heroes come to terms with the conclusion of the Metal Virus together, with Eggman making his escape on the Restoration Shuttle while the heroes debate what to do next, especially now that Sonic has gone missing. Zavok arises from the rubble in pure refusal to be defeated by Sonic once again. He makes his attack on Vanilla and Cream, but is saved by none other than Cheese. Afterward, Tangle jumps in, and then the rest of the gang jumps in, and they all begin to beat the crap out of Zavok, creating one of the biggest no-holds-barred beatdowns of any character in the entire Sonic franchise, with not a single person giving the victim an ounce of room to even breathe. They should do this more often. Meanwhile, the rest of the Deadly Six are still running rampant around the world. Tails convinces Amy that the fight just isn't over yet, regardless of how upset and exhausted she is. Finally, the crew realizes that Eggman has gotten away on their shuttle. Knuckles decides that he'd rather go and stay by the Master Emerald while everybody else deals with the new problems that have arisen. To assist in Eggman's retreat, Metal Sonic kills Gemeral's ass, picking up Orbot and Cubot along the way. The crew are unable to fight Zavok and stop Metal Sonic. Shadow takes it upon himself to battle the copy of Sonic in his chase with Eggman. After Shadow fails to stop Eggman, we flash over to the Soul Dimension to see Blaze overlooking her kingdom when suddenly the peaceful night is interrupted by something falling from the sky. This anomaly turns out to be none other than Sonic the Hedgehog. I like the little detail of Knuckles constantly looking to the sky for Sonic. He clearly misses the guy, or he's just not ready for another 6 months without him, or the world goes to shit again. What I don't like and think is kind of out of character for him is that he just stops giving a damn and just wants to chill elsewhere while everybody else deals with a still looming and serious threat. I feel like IDW is kind of setting the stage to use Knuckles as a second Sonic. While he's on screen, Knuckles can get anything done, but his crutch is that he'd apparently just rather be relaxing by his emerald, regardless of what's happening in the world. I think that's the result of IDW massively overcorrecting Knuckles' character. As I've always said, get Knuckles some help. Why does he have to be the only character who can watch over this thing? The fact that Omega has just been chilling in the Restoration Shuttle since issue 22 is so funny because it's exactly how SEGA treats his character. He literally has nothing to do ever at all times. He just shows up and then he's out. What I'm gonna say next isn't necessarily a point against the comic, but I'm not sure what's going on here. There seems to be no consistency on just what the Master Emerald Shrine is supposed to look like. Just look at the geography for all of these wide shots we have of the shrine in this comic. Just like the games, we have no accuracy on the layouts of anything, anywhere. Issue 31. Sonic has completely lost his mind, as in, he can't remember anything. So it falls to Blaze to find some way to bring his memories back. Amy continues lamenting in the wreckage of the Restoration, finally accepting that the stress of the job is just too much. But even still, she doesn't give up because Sonic wouldn't. Jewel comes in to tell Amy that Tangle told her how much she doesn't like the job. Jewel then offers to take over the administration of the Restoration, to which Amy swiftly accepts and lays out what's currently going on in the world and their goals. Meanwhile, Tails and Tangle save Rough and Tumble from the deep depths that Sonic left them in. Tangle asks Tails how he's feeling about Sonic being gone, to which he remains hopeful and steadfast, a far cry from his character in Forces, although perhaps the air of uncertainty helps. Silver returns to his future to see it as a thriving metropolis once more. Meanwhile, Eggman has created a new suit of armor for Omega, and Eggman even gets an update on just what happened to the Zeti. It's confirmed that only Zavok is locked up, while the others still run free. Eggman jumps into his next plan, with Sonic's whereabouts being uncertain. Eggman makes sure to make a comment about how he has no idea where Starline is, before the comic sends us to our glamorously dressed platypus in his own repository, using egg robos and seemingly defacing Eggman's property to use as his own. He declares that his solo venture shall now begin without the inept execution of Eggman's plans impeding him. He will instead improve and conquer so that Eggman will learn from his example, and Eggman shall work with him as an equal. Alright, good luck, buddy. Cream, Gemerald, and Vanilla take over the logistics of the Chaotix Detective Agency so that the Chaotix can actually do the field work for their cases. Shadow comes to grips with the fact that he acted far too brashly in the fight with the Zombots in issue 19. Rouge tries to invite him to the party brewing up at Spiral Hill, but Shadow passes. Just as this party is about to liven up even more, none other than Dr. Eggman comes to crash this event. Hey yo, was Tangle drunk? This little plot line where Sonic loses his memories is unnecessary. It's just used as a way to keep Sonic away from Eggman so that he can attack the heroes at this party, so that Sonic can later obviously make his grand return in the next issue, which will give the Metal Virus some kind of better ending, I guess. If this wasn't going to bleed into the next arc, there was no reason to have Sonic lose his memory. Well, other than to make a contrived moment. I'll talk a bit more on that in the next issue. But speaking of Blaze, again, why is she not in this saga? Those Soul Emeralds are severely lacking here. Something I really do love about this issue is that it takes a quick look into Amy's character and how she feels about running the restoration. Originally, it seemed like Ian Flynn was going to keep Amy as this girl boss insta-leader that could do no wrong. I made a comment about this previously during the Neo Metal Saga. It's possible that I jumped the gun a bit too early on the comment I made. There were several instances during the Metal Virus Saga where Amy clearly expresses her disdain and reluctance to be the leader of the restoration. In the last issue, her comment to Knuckles falls right in line with how Amy was actually written to be shotgunned straight to the top of the organization. Even if it's a correction Ian made along the way, it's understandable reasoning and solid growth for her character. The negative that I will say about this narrative decision is that Amy was, in fact, for quite a while, this girl boss insta-leader that could do no wrong. She was still far too comfortable commanding and was a natural at leading. Everybody listened to her, except Shadow. And she seemed to always know what to do. Even though Amy expressed her disdain for the job, it still was not in her character to be such a natural leader. Capable fighter, yes. Leader? No. I like the idea that she would eventually become a capable leader. I don't like that she just was a capable leader. Even after working under Knuckles, she still would have had minimal, if any, experience. I think I'm even more iffy on Jewel becoming the leader of the restoration. Sure, she manages a museum, so paperwork would be easy for her. She would also have at least a little experience in resource management. Yet, just like how Amy admits that she was only good at assisting the administration aspect of the resistance, even though the comic itself debunks this by displaying Amy as a very capable leader, even I can only imagine that Jewel would only be good at assisting the administration aspect as well. From what we know about Jewel's character so far, she's never been a violent participant in a war, has never had any combat experience, and she wouldn't know anything about military tactics. This isn't to say that Knuckles would know anything about all that either, but given that he knows how to fight, and had at one point completely utilized the geography of his own island to stop trespassers, he fits the bill of a commander better than both Amy and Jewel do. I just find it so odd that IDW IDW has essentially created a sidekick-inspired character for Tangle, one that displays facets of Amy, Tails, and Cream to command the restoration, instead of creating a character that already has plenty of experience in the war during Sonic Forces itself. I think it's a missed opportunity to really give the restoration a believable structure that people can actually get behind. Think about it like this. How would you feel if Jewel or Amy was your commanding officer? If I were part of the restoration, I would hate that Jewel or Amy was my leader. As a soldier, I would instantly realize that these two have no clue what they're doing, and I'm pretty damn sure a massive chunk of the people who will be going out to die for them would notice this too. I'm sure that IDW will write it so that Jewel just knows what she's supposed to do, but I don't see this character being believable as a commander. Well, let me not jump the gun like I did with Amy. I'll make a claim of concern rather than a claim of a writer's negligence. I don't see a world where Jewel would ever have the ability to make the restoration run properly and be a leader that people look up to. So, IDW really needs to show me that she's got this and make it believable. Unlike Amy, who just magically had all the skills and know-how that a commander should have. In this issue, we get to see just a glimpse of Silver's future, and I think that's so cool of a concept. I really hope that we get some individual tales with him at some point. This is completely uncharted Sonic territory. We know nothing about it. Look, y'all gotta stop hating on my boy Silver. I'm gonna need a little bit of Silver love in the comments expeditiously. And this goes for the Soul Dimension as well. They just give a tease of the lore surrounding her kingdom. I wish that we can get some actual writers that have a deep understanding of Sonic working on the games and TV shows. I can already think of so many things that I would do for them. We need some actual well thought out content so that we can explore this franchise's characters and expand every story to the heights that they deserve. If we could just get SEGA to throw away these limits that they purposely place on themselves, stop with the outdated platforming based games, turn it into a platforming adventure games, and find those writers, then this franchise could actually evolve. Oh, you guys want to see a plot hole? Look at how pretty and alive Silver's future is. Lush green, gorgeous landscape in the background, and now here's Silver saying that his future doesn't even have fertile ground. He says everything in this time is so alive, so green. It's unbelievable. There's nothing like it where I'm from. What's up with that, huh? Let me just point out that Omega canonically doesn't act the way he's been acting in this saga. He's not a goofy character. From my understanding, this personality of Omega is actually a carryover from the Archie comics, which just seems odd because it's an official Sonic character that can just be written however IDW wants. That's a topic we're gonna explore a little more in the final review. I also don't mind that he's written like this. Omega being the comedic relief of Team Dark works for me. Oh wait, my bad, Team Dark doesn't exist. Omega as a character is mostly a nothing burger anyway. Anytime IDW brings reasonable life into a character who is majorly nobody anyway is a plus for me. Good job, IDW team. Now on to the scene with Starline. This is exactly what I've been waiting for. Give this pretentious platypus some time in the spotlight. Forget about Eggman, put his ass on the back burner for a bit. Let me actually see what this brand new villain can do. Show me that Dr. Starline is this incredibly intelligent character you keep trying to tell me he is. Prove to me that he's just been bogged down by Eggman and in his own environment he would thrive. I'm excited to finally see that. I want to like Dr. Starline. As for the Chaotix, it's nice to hear that the detective agency is apparently still more preferred over the restoration, I guess. I mean, finding people and delivering resources is the job of the restoration, is it not? Or maybe the detective agency is the division of the restoration that's looking for people? In which case, out of the entire restoration, you only have 3 people on the job? Oh, and Gemeral's all better now after getting Yamcha'd by Metal Sonic. And my boy Vector is bricked up here. Understandable though, because Vanilla really do be a bad bitch. There's this scene where Shadow and Rouge are talking to each other, eachother, and before I talk about that, are these patches of land just floating in the sky for no reason? Anyway, this scene is the most reasonable Shadow has been in a long time before Sonic Prime. The fact that Shadow is even slightly considering his own actions is major for his character. And it's good that Shadow has a moment of slight character growth here. But, of course, we have to see how this introspection pays off in the future. And if it never does, then this scene loses all of its meaning. Whoa, wait. No chance was this almost forgotten. You think I didn't notice this? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've been enjoying the video. Share this video around so everyone can see me more often. I'm covering the entire story of IDW front to back, so don't forget to start from the beginning if you haven't yet. By doing that, even you can be in the know with the IDW comics. Now back to the video. Issue 32. Eggman arrives with a new skin for Omega. The Omega Bot? Omega Titan? What is this thing named? Giga Omega? Nah. Eggman arrives in the Omega Mecha and shakes up the party, adding in a fire and light show to the event. The crew must decide how to handle this situation without their blue hero. And, well, here's how that goes down. Whisper looks to Amy for orders, but Amy says she's passed the restoration off to Jewel. So Whisper goes to Jewel, but Jewel only knows how to do paperwork. Big is looking for Froggy, and the Babylon Rogues decide that this is a chance to steal all of the museum's jewels, but Rouge has already stolen them because I guess she can just predict that they would do that and stole them in a millisecond. Nobody else but Vector takes Amy's place and orders the team around. Huh. Really? The team battles Eggman, but this giant overpowered Omega Mecha is just too much of a hassle. Eggman is even able to take control of General, which I guess also powers up the Omega Mecha. It's not very clear what exactly happened there. Meanwhile, Blaze is able to get Sonic's memories back by transforming into Burning Blaze, which makes Sonic remember the end of Sonic Rush, and he's back to normal, baby! Tails and Rouge hack into the Omega Mecha, thanks to Eggman's shoddy work on the mech, freeing General from Eggman, and Omega temporarily refuses his overridden programming. In response to this, Eggman, did this nigga just pull out a gun? The crew then directly attack Eggman and the Omega Mecha. Blaze is able to transport Sonic back to his world, landing exactly right where everybody is fighting Eggman. Okay. Sonic overpowers the Omega Mecha, freeing Omega. Omega is then able to unleash an unimaginable hail of bullets that forces Eggman out of the Omega Mecha. Sonic goes to face Eggman and, is that a JoJo run? But instead of fighting, Sonic just lets him go, and the group share a big ol' hug. Oh, even Whisper is enjoying the hug. Jewel reminds everybody that the town is still on fire, and so the heroes save Spiral Hill again. Sonic overlooks the sunset before rushing off on his own, awaiting the day that yet another adventure comes around, ending the Metal Virus Saga. I just want to point this out because it's not the first time IDW has had an inconsistency like this. Let's not forget how much Sonic was actually infected at the end of issue 28 in comparison to the start of issue 29, or the Master Emerald Shrine in comparison to its first appearance. Here's where inconsistencies kind of start to mess up the story. In the scene where Eggman first arrives, Rouge is literally on screen witnessing his assault. Then in the next issue, Rouge is nowhere to be found because she somehow shows up later, having stolen every single jewel of the museum in order to stop the Babylon Rogues from making a dash with the treasures. Eggman just got here. How did she steal everything so fast? This is an entire museum. It's not like a few major gems that are expensive. This is a mineral museum. That's all they have is pretty rocks. You can even see that is the case from this shot taking place during the Tangle and Whisper miniseries issue 1. Don't blame me, IDW, I ain't no fool. You don't get to just do whatever you want and say it's because you said so. During the fight with Eggman, Whisper looks to Amy for orders, and it's a completely logical thing to do. But Amy's response to this this not only makes her look like an incompetent character, but also an asshole based on everything we've seen about her before this. Amy being written to not understand that it doesn't matter who's going to be the leader of the restoration is nonsense. Right now, as Amy's final act and send-off for the restoration, before literally announcing that Jewel is taking over, she needs to take point. How selfish of her to act like this. She isn't allowed to just cower and go, I don't know what to do, guys. Amy should and would still have that leadership quality to her. This is actually a character break for how IDW has written Amy so far. I mean, seriously, when the entire base went on lockdown from the Zombots, Amy didn't just go, does anybody else know how to handle this? No, she sprung into action, immediately giving out orders and figuring out how to control the situation as best she could. When Angel Island was being attacked by Metal Sonic, did she hopelessly look to Knuckles, the actual leader of the resistance, to make a plan and make sure everybody gets out as safe as possible? No! Amy took over that operation and planned out everything that they could possibly do. And even on the field, she was able to manage and control people based on their ideas and her own. The same thing happened back in issue 2. Amy immediately took control when the badniks were coming in, and she wasn't even a leader of anything at that point. This reaction from Amy is not backed up by the comic's own material, and that is why it's a character break. It should not have fallen to Vector if Amy can't do this. Vector isn't even in any position of authority in the restoration. He's a detective. No, and remember how I said Jewel definitely don't got this? Yeah. I don't like that Sonic regains his memories by Blaze just turning into Burning Blaze. I already don't like this contrived plotline because it feels so forced and pointless. Sonic regaining his memories essentially the same way that Eggman did is just as much of a cop-out as that was. As I said earlier, it just comes off as pointless and contrived. It leads to nothing. At best, the next time Sonic and Blaze see each other, they'll probably make a quick joke about it, and that'll be all we get. Imagine a saga without Sonic, the story that Sonic Forces failed to deliver on. And then when Sonic finally does arrive, he doesn't actually defeat Eggman. The entire thing is so anticlimactic, with Sonic flatly stating that he'll keep fighting Eggman again and again and again. It's just a strange expectation. Is this all just a game to Sonic now? It's not about how many people Eggman kills, the lives he destroys, nothing like that. It's all just fun and games. Oh, you lost your entire family? That's okay, I'm Sonic, I'll just let him go. Oh, he's completely traumatized you to the point that you can barely even understand your own emotions? That sucks. I'm Sonic. I just let him go again. Oh, Eggman has stolen and tortured everyone you know, turned your family into these robot freaks? Ah, that sucks. I'm Sonic. I just let him go. Eggman has torn apart the very fabric of the world shred by shred? Oh well, I'm Sonic. I just let him go. What is this character, dude? If I was in this universe and I was standing there and I just heard Sonic go, nah, there goes that Eggman again. Dude, I'm beating the shit out. I'm shooting you. I'm going to kill you in a video game. What the fuck is wrong with you? I would be the next villain of IDW. Sonic just made me a villain. I don't like that Eggman just leaves after Sonic arrives and not a single soul stops him. It was such a huge deal that he didn't leave back in issue 30, yet for whatever reason, nobody bats an eye about Eggman just slowly floating off back to his base to once again nearly destroy the planet. What is up with this conclusion? Can we do something about Eggman for once? Why are we just letting him go all the time? I don't like that the games do this either. Sonic just constantly fighting Eggman again and again and again. Either lock him up or delete him. At least with locking him up, you'll have to wait a bit for him to get out. And in that time frame, another villain can rise up. Maybe even after a few stories without Eggman, one of the newer villains wants to bust Eggman out. And instead of that just being the norm, it's a huge event. Eggman's back. Oh my god, just think about all the crazy things he did when he was here. Just anything to stop Eggman from getting away completely unimpeded. It's dumb for a franchise that is telling a story. This isn't just a fault on IDW, this is a fault on the entire franchise of Sonic. Do something about Eggman, please! That'll do it for this video, everybody. Be on the lookout for my final review of the entire Metal Virus Saga, and afterward, we'll be celebrating the end of the saga with the annual 2020 comic. When we move on to the next saga of the IDW series in issue 33, Ian Flynn takes the backseat as a new writer takes a crack at creating a Sonic story. And I'm pretty excited to see just what Evan Stanley is capable of. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Okay, bye!